Breathe in through the nose and out the mouth. Focus. Imagine you're on a beach. You see the waves. You feel the heat. It radiates on your body. You stand up and walk towards a cave. It's deep and dark, and the soft sand fades away to rocky gravel. As you get deeper and deeper, you find yourself. So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're old friends dissecting one topic at a time. People, technology, media, we've got it all covered.
Each discussion here is a deep dive into our unique perspective. The taboo, forbidden subjects, they're all on the chopping block, baby. We don't pander to popular opinion. We might even get a little bit dirty.
Warning, this podcast may contain mature language and sexual content and is for infotainment purposes only.
So join us. Have a good time.
Open up your ear holes, because we're going to fondle your follicles. Alrighty. Well, sir, what did he say? He said he was going to fondle my follicles, Judge. How many times did he say it? About 150.
Yeah, I can imagine people screaming at each other in the prison yard. I'm gonna follow your follicles later, pal. Whoa,
easy. Whoa.
Welcome aboard. Fast and the Furious tonight. I'm Nick.
And I'm Dan.
That's awesome.
And we
together. We are
the
Panders.
Deeper and deeper.
Derek Zoolander. Love that.
So our topic tonight is Zen.
Zen. Cool word, right? Right off the bat.
Yeah.
Not a lot of Z's out there, so shout out.
Yeah, 3-letter words, not many.
Scrabble, definitely.
No, Zen, God, sex.
I was going with Scrabble.
Oh.
I don't think you can play that one in Scrabble.
Not as a
important word, though it is.
Yeah. 100%. I agree with you.
Good. I'm glad you agree with my agreement.
Good. We're in agreement.
We're in agreement.
No compromises here.
I had Zen definition pulled up because I actually think
quite long.
The word. Go ahead.
Oh boy. Click.
It's Chinese Shan or Japanese Zen or Korean Seong or Vietnamese Sien.
I like the last one.
Well, my pronunciation was not practiced or spelled out, so it could be all entirely wrong. Later developed, strongly influenced. Whew, this is a lot of words. Let's just say it's the chill zone.
Yeah, that's just we should edit this Wikipedia article just to just.
I think we should.
Zen is the chill zone.
I mean, we could read it, but it's a lot of words and just nations and stuff. It's a school of Maya Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism that originated in China during the Tang Dynasty. They're known as the Chan School, later developed in various schools and went to Neo-Taoist. Neo-Taoist thought Chinese Buddhism from Qian spread into Vietnam, and it's like, whoa, that's un-Zen, that definition.
It's the opposite of the Western world right there.
Kind of is. It's kind of like it's before enlightenment. It's like the work you put in for enlightenment.
I don't know.
Or is it enlightenment? I don't know. It's different than nirvana, correct?
What is nirvana?
I had that definition pulled up as well. I'm glad you asked. Although I just minimized it, so hold on.
We're on the seat of our pants.
I heard someone say that half of listening to a podcast is people just looking up words in Wikipedia and stuff, and I was like, that's not true.
That can't be true. Hold on a second. Let's look this up.
Hold on. Let me take a look. Nirvana. Oh, that's why I couldn't see it. It was in that color. Nirvana is actually considered Is
that the final state? Is that when all the eyes and hands show up?
It's with Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, and it represents an ultimate state of soteriological release, the liberation from repeated rebirth in samsara. So yeah, it's like spiritual orgasm.
Yeah, yeah.
Way to put it.
Yeah, I would.
Whereas Zen, I feel like is a constant state. You know what I'm saying?
Zen is like a working state, like something that we can actually feel. I don't know that everyone can feel nirvana.
I think you can get to nirvana, maybe. I don't know. Maybe no one. Do you think like
they're faking it?
So this is all. I was going with this is all like Eastern.
Ah.
Like I made it last week. When?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what was it like? It was Wednesday. It was crazy.
I don't know what time I was zenning.
It was nuts, dude. Yeah, I zenned out. So there's an idea behind all this. There's a theme, right? Mm-hmm. The little trees, bonsai tree.
Oh yeah.
You like chip it. There's sand garden. Oh yeah, you rake a sand garden. That's pimp. Yeah. If I were to say so myself.
If I was really wealthy, I'd have a Zen garden for no reason.
Oh hell yeah!
It would be completely unkept, and I wouldn't care about it, but it'd be there.
Once in a while, I would get drunk and tend the sand garden. Just like, whoo, you would see me just raking, looking off in the distance, maybe peeing occasionally.
I kind of like to have like a house party, and then like that's the only thing I'm doing.
Oh, dude, that would be wild.
Hey,
everybody shows up.
Nick, and you're just like,
Not now.
A moment.
For I am deep.
Yes.
Would you join me? No, I'm good.
You give him a tiny rake, and he feels insecure. It's like, I can't measure up to you, Nick.
You must begin anew before you can grasp the new rake. And I point to a bigger, beefier rake. Oh yeah, you know you want that rake. Damn it. So Zen, we associate it with, like I said, the bonsai trees, this little pit, the monks. You know what I mean? Doing this.
It's almost a feeling. It's a feeling we don't normally feel unless we try.
It's weird because is it the opposite of boredom? It's doing nothing but not feeling bored, sort of.
I think that boredom searches for something outside of yourself, whereas Zen searches for something inside of you.
What?
Oh, man.
Might be really good. I don't even know if it's correct. I just like it. I like it.
I hope so.
By the end of the episode, if you were right, this is classic. Classic on Panders.
Have you felt Zen before?
Yeah. I think I've had nirvana. I think I've mentioned it on this podcast.
I don't think so.
No, this is a story. My grandmother died, and I lost my virginity. All within like a real short time frame. So like I was like hormones raging. I'm like a teenager. I'm young, and it was the first person I ever saw die. And I used to be.
It's weird because I thought you were going to say it's the first person you ever saw naked, and that.
No, I hope not.
Which woman are you talking about?
Which one?
I'm so confused in my memory. It's just mashed together. I can't
and I was
pull
like
the pieces apart.
The bodies. No, I was like an angsty, emo, kind of a overthinking, really nerdy teenager. I don't know. Like I was really
awkward,
writing dark poetry, gangly. I was not athletic at all.
Oh.
And I was always thinking inside my head, like, oh my God, what do I wear? Oh my God, what do you say in this situation? Do girls like me? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to go for walks and listen to really loud music in my headphones that you had to plug into your CD player. And I would walk in the neighborhood
it
like, friggin'
horizontally just to make sure.
So it didn't skip ESP, cranked to 10, 15 second ESP. Mm-hmm. Electronic skip protection for those listening.
Yeah. You try to tap it just to test, make sure.
Bass boost on. But I was going for a walk, and I do this often because I was an angsty teen, and I would just look up at the stars and kind of just walk around and be depressed and emo. And one night, it was right after my grandmother died, and I saw Lord of the Rings. One of them. I forget which one it was. And I was walking. I think it was that one. Is that the Fellowship of the Ring?
No, I think it's later on.
Okay. Either way, I was walking, and I remember I walked down this one area where there's all grass, and it's open field. And I was listening to Joe Satriani, Chords of Life. I still remember.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a good song. Really good.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to it, and I was all of a sudden, I don't remember walking anymore. I was just like, I was somewhere else. And I almost feel like my grandmother was there who had just passed. Like I felt like everyone, like I felt like I wasn't on Earth. Like I was literally somewhere else. And I remember, like, I don't know how much time passed, but the song was almost over. And I kind of came to, and I remember you could see your breath. It was really cold outside, and I could see, like, my breath, and I was crying. And I didn't remember crying. And I was like, what the hell just happened to me? And I remember this really overwhelming voice telling me, and it was my own voice telling me that I didn't have to be afraid of anything, ever. And it literally, to this day, it's probably something that made me like who I am, where I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like, not in a bad way, but in a way that there's nothing in life that you could be afraid of, because it's always trial and error. You're always doing something. You're always moving. You're always making mistakes. You're always, everyone else is doing it too. And it occurred to me that night, at 14, 16, 12, whatever the hell I was, that I was invincible in a way. Like I was free to do whatever I want with this life. It almost like I had old person wisdom. Like, you know, when 80-year-olds are like, listen, I wish I'd done this sooner. I wish I was not afraid of this. I wish I didn't do this. And I felt all that. And it made me, I don't know, I was less awkward from then on. I'm not usually just afraid of anything, but it all began that night. And I still like Joe Satriani, Chords of Life. It's a good song.
Huh. So do you think something got lifted, that you like became aware of something that you just couldn't see before, that would changed you?
Yeah, I do. I think it was almost like I said, when you're 80 and you have all this knowledge of life and you say, oh, I wish I could tell myself at X age that none of it matters, in a weird way. Not in a bad way, but in a way like everyone's going to live, everyone's going to die. Yours is one of billions of lives. Kind of doesn't matter. So kind of enjoy it, embrace the experiences of it. And I honestly feel like somehow I gave that to myself, or deceased relatives gave that to me, or someone or something gave that to me. And from then on, like, I sometimes think of that moment when I'm starting to feel anxious or something. I'm like, who cares, dude? Let it go. Just be. You're going to look back on this, and there will be a time where this moment in your life, this anxious feeling, will be in the past. It can't hurt you. It's over. I don't know. Is that a thing?
So I feel like there's a lot of life that's spent just being distracted. And like the entire Western culture focuses on all these things that don't center on you, really. You focus on your emotions and your calm and your peace. And almost all of what I've read about Buddhist culture and like Zen culture is that you have to like spend the time to focus on yourself, and like not necessarily all the problems that you have, but the calm that is like protects you from those problems.
The constant.
Sail the stormy sea, the choppy sea, and be calm and smooth through it. A lot of life, I see people be stressed out, and I don't know if I'm more Zen than other people, but I take a moment and like relax, whereas they get kind of worked up. And I don't, like now in everyday life, I don't think I really get worked up. I just slowly get stressed, and it takes like days before I'm really actually stressed out. But it only takes like maybe half an hour to an hour. I haven't sat down and meditated, but if you just kind of calm down, it kind of goes away.
Like a way to Alan Watts, who I brought up before, the great philosopher. He Western actually, but he believes in a lot of the Eastern Buddhist that kind of stuff, lines of thought. One of his big things is like the dividing line between you and the outside world is really gray. I mean, you just mentioned it, where there's a lot of stuff going on. There's choppy seas. I mean, are you your rays? Are you the 500 things that got you to your raise? Are you the 500 experiences that you use to determine your 500 decisions that got you to a raise? And there's at some point where we get so worked up in these things that are not technically us,
Material.
these outside, not even, I mean, material, but also decisions, like little tiny things, like how I interact with so-and-so, how I do this with so-and-so, when I get the raise here, when I do this. And I'm saying raise because we do the work thing, but school, anything. And there comes a point where that's not you. That's something you interact with. So you will be a constant regardless of how you do these things. And whether you pick A or B or C or D or X or Y, you will still be you. And I think that's what you kind of touched on. What you do if you just breathe, like kind of, whoa, refocus. You're spreading yourself real thin. You're in a lot of different areas. You're doing a whole different amount of things. But ultimately, when you stop and think about it, you are in a smaller area. I don't know.
Do you meditate?
Does that make sense? I don't think so. But I don't know. Mm-hmm.
It's weird because I don't do it, but I know I have done it and I like doing it. I just don't have like the time to sit there and just.
I knew you were going to say time. Yeah, time is the biggest constraint to all of this.
Yeah, you don't want to feel like you're wasting time, but how do you justify the time that you've wasted, or the time you've used for something and it doesn't really amount to anything that you can feel?
You just said it. Define wasted time. I mean, it's impossible to define that because meditating is doing nothing, right? Is that the definition of meditating? It's kind of doing nothing and just focusing?
I don't know, but there's a feeling that happens when you're meditating. It's almost like you're exercising a muscle. Like, there are times when I feel like I haven't exercised in a while, that I feel slow and lethargic, and it takes like a moment, a period of exercise to like wake up muscles that haven't felt anything, and then my body becomes alive. It's the same thing when you meditate, is that something becomes awakened and it energizes you. I don't know if it's like is a dopamine rush or what the chemical release is, but I feel differently when I'm meditating and after I'm done. And I don't do it very often, but I notice it. Like almost every time I try to meditate, it does make a difference. And I don't know what the difference is, but I do feel better.
That is wild. I didn't even think of that like a muscle, but and that's why it's probably, if you've never meditated or don't really take the time to do any of that, if you try it for 30 seconds, like you're not going to see the result. It's going to be too hard. You don't really work it. I think you have to, I think we've talked about the workout paradox, where it's easier for someone in shape to work out because you're constantly working out and you're better at working out than someone who's overweight and never works out. It hurts for the first 30 seconds. Like you have to fight through it and strengthen that muscle, if that makes sense.
I think there's a period where you're not taking it seriously and you're not in it. I think you're fighting it. And the same thing happens to people mentally when they don't want to meditate and they're just sitting there like, this is stupid. Like, no, you don't understand. Like, take the time to just take it.
So weird. How did we turn on? That's nuts.
Well, how did we turn on? What?
Yeah, I just looked down and it was us. I guess the live feed somehow clicked on or whatever, and I was like, that's us. I should have meditated on it and just looked at us.
Oh.
Interesting.
Weird.
Yeah, it is odd. So let's talk about where can you meditate? I don't even know. Can you listen to music and meditate? Is that illegal? Is that engaging your senses or something? I don't know.
I feel this would work because now I can play music while I work, like out loud, which is absurd. Like,
it is different.
I never was able to do that at any other job, but it's very calming for me and for other people. Other people enjoy that there's some sound because it's like too quiet and there's only like a handful of people in my office. So it's like they all enjoy the music. So it's like very comforting to me and other people, which is very strange because other people would normally complain that I'm playing Tool or like Audio Slave or whatever.
You know, you can feel how much the surrounding area is enjoying or not enjoying your music, right? It's such a weird feeling. Yeah.
You feel like you're being ridiculed even though no one's saying anything in like a normal office environment.
Weird. It is weird.
You're very aware of other people's thoughts and emotions without even like interacting with them.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. And it's, I would imagine that in a blind test or whatever, you'd be right 95% of the time.
So you think there's an undercurrent of whatever it might be flowing through us all that we can sense each other? It's like sharks with their electromagnetism. They can sense other animals near them.
They can. Now, that's a physical thing. So what would this thing be? An actual physical property that maybe we can't measure yet? Is that a thing?
Could be EM waves.
Propagating
through space, hitting our bodies.
But then how would they be dependent on our moods? Like our moods
if alter we're emitting something? Maybe we are. Are we?
We might be. I have no clue. But then hold on. Now you get into the bullshit sciences, or like I'm a clairvoyant.
Get the crystals.
Come in here. I'm gonna get the crystals. We're gonna do a reading in here. So I think there's a line where it is BS. and there's a line where it isn't BS. And I don't know which, like, there's no science to explain these things that we're kind of discussing. Like, does this fly in the face of science? Everything we're talking about? Is Zen a scientific thing?
So I like this. I read this little snippet here.
Yep.
Human beings give off radiation. Oh, shit.
Radiation?
Yeah, human beings give off radiation. Humans give off mostly infrared, which is electromagnetic radiation. So it's lower than visible light.
Oh, frequency? Yeah,
it's not unique to humans, and any object with non-zero temperature gives off thermal radiation.
Okay.
So
is that what...
You're connected to things, and you might not even be aware of it.
Right. Well, you're touching on, like, visible light makes up, like, 1% of the electromagnetic. I have no clue what percentage it actually makes up. But we can see 1% of what waves people are giving off or interact. Yeah. Yeah, I'd be curious. I don't think it's 1%. I think it's just in an Incubus song.
I think it's like
you know what
90.
Is less than 1% of reality. I'd just be curious. Anyway, I am curious. Like, do we emit any kind of gamma rays or interact with that kind of stuff? Or that would be too powerful, so it would too high a frequency?
It is pretty low. It's 0.0035% of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. I can't speak tonight.
Wow. We can only see less than 1/2 of a percent?
No, that's even less than that. That's like...
0.0... No, 1/2 of a 1%. 0.03, right? Or is it...
0.0035%.
0.00? Holy shit. So what we see is only... That's nuts. I didn't know it was that low.
99.997%
of reality we can't see. That's wild. It kind of makes me think that there is something to it. Yeah, there is more. I mean, physically there has to be. Interesting.
What I find strange is that even though I enjoy it and I feel like it's needed, I don't do it. Like, I neglect it. And I think that's part of how we're raised, is that we neglect ourselves and we don't really pay attention to ourselves, especially men, that we focus on helping other people, protecting other people, and doing things for other people, and we never take care of ourselves. So there's an aspect there that I'm constantly doing things that probably, I don't know if they're for me or not, actually.
They sort of are and sort of aren't. I guess you're really hedging your bet by saying you're doing it for you so that you feel good, but it's actually for someone else or something else or a future or a future you or a future other people or your family.
Delayed
makes
gratification,
sense.
That makes sense. I'm all about that. Gratification.
Oh yeah.
Got distracted.
Do you want to talk about... No, I was going to say, do you want to talk about that book?
Siddhartha?
Yeah, I actually really love that book. So, who's it by? I forgot the guy's name.
Hesse.
I almost said Charleston Heston. No,
Charlton Heston.
So, one of my favorite books we had to read in English class, like one of those jobbers, probably my top 3, Siddhartha. It's by Hermann Hesse. When did he write it? Published in the U.S. in 1951. So, I think before that it came from India, I want to say. Wow, publication date 1922, German. Yeah. Wild. So Siddhartha is the main character. He's a protagonist, and his name, I didn't realize that, is made up of 2 words, Sanskrit. It means siddha, which is achieved, and artha, which is that what was searched for. That's kind of cool. He has found meaning of existence, or he has found meaning in his existence. Kind of cool. So it was kind of, it's a roundabout story about Buddha. It's not like he's not Buddha or anything. He, I believe he's trying to find meaning in life, and he's trying, the whole age-old story. He wants to find what is, and what is the meaning of existence, and what are these higher planes, and what do I do, and how do I feel these things. His father tries to teach him, and he doesn't answer any of his questions because Siddhartha's a bastard. He's like, well, what gives you feelings of goodness then? And he's like, helping my family. He's like, that's making you feel good about you feeling good about helping someone. He's like, I don't know. Leave me alone. So he goes off on this journey, and one of his friends is like, hey, follow the Gautama, which is a Buddhist, like a Buddha, which is, we won't get into because we didn't do all the research. So he decides to take all these paths in life to find out which is the right one, totally cool story, right?
Cool story, bro.
He wants to do the samanas, which are traveling aesthetics, and they tell Siddhartha that the best way to do this is by depriving the physical body of anything. Starve yourself. Don't engage in pleasures. Don't eat. Don't drink. Don't party. Don't have fun. And your life will become so drab that you will find what is key to yourself. You won't be distracted by any pleasure. And you will find that which is true beauty in the earth and find something in yourself. Which is a real, it's a series of thought. People, that's what the monks do, correct?
Yeah, Buddhist monks.
Yeah. They technically don't engage in any of these activities because they're trying to strip down the human condition to its most basic form, have the fewest obstacles, aka pleasures and cars and cool things and drinks and parties and all the fun stuff that distracts you to find the truth.
So what are the rules that Buddhist monks live by?
Ooh, go ahead. Can they talk? Is that a rumor?
I'll go through the list. I think that's a rumor.
Okay.
Refrain from harming living things.
Makes sense.
Taking that which is not freely given. Sexual misconduct.
Ooh.
Wrong speech. Like lying, idle chatter,
Oh,
malicious
okay.
gossip,
Okay.
or harsh speech.
I love gossip.
Intoxicating drinks and drugs, which lead
Oh,
to
dear.
carelessness.
Hmm.
So those are the main ones. So it's pure.
Can they can't buy nice clothes. What would that be under?
I don't know, actually.
There's like a vow of poverty almost too. Like you don't buy excessive things, I feel like.
I feel like that has to be
Nothing
with like
beyond.
a natural way of life.
Okay.
It's more about,
The earth and you.
yeah, the connection
Existing as
between
a
you and the earth.
Base human, maybe?
Yeah, if you're driving around in a Rolls Royce, I think that kind of takes you out of being part of the
Can you
earth.
imagine if a monk was wearing drab clothes and barely spoke, but he had a Rolls Royce? That'd be hilarious. I would check out that monk.
So what, like, common views of Buddhist monks is that what
They're quiet and I guess that's cloistered. No, it's
cloistered?
nuns.
Is it cloistered?
That's nuns. No, I think cloistered is nuns. Either way, you're shut off from society. You kind of have your own society. You live and eat together, and you don't really
Cloistered.
leave the house. Or cool,
Kept
awesome.
away from the outside world, or having enclosed in a cloister, as in a monastery.
Oh,
Cloistered.
nuns! Look at them! Look at them nuns. Anyway, the whole idea is like you have so few distractions that you're spending most of your time with yourself. You're exercising that muscle you kind of mentioned.
People at hand. In this day and age, it's crazy because you're distracted by so many damn things.
Oh my god, every 5 seconds I have to see a tweet, I have to like something, I have to flip open another app, I have to entertain myself, I have to have music playing,
More
I have to
pictures
play
of
something
wolves,
else.
yeah.
I have Netflix, pictures of wolves. It's one of my greatest weakness is a great picture of a wolf and then writing something above it like "it me" or something. That's honestly, those are some of my joys in life. But these people, these monks, Siddhartha decides to try and join them, and guess what? He kind of does it. He kind of feels good, but he doesn't. It's not the bee's knees. It doesn't do it for him. It doesn't answer all life's questions. So you know what he does?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he starts following Gautama, the Buddha. And he says, hey, let me follow you around for a little bit. And they go town to town and like similar to monks and beg for food. And hey, come listen to the teachings of the great Buddha. And then like they have people and he helps them. And he doesn't feel like following this guy really is working for him. That's kind of a thing. Like it's in a way it's saying that religion is a way to achieve Zen almost.
So
and it doesn't work.
We missed a point though.
Oh, go ahead.
So one of the key elements is that you're learning from like a master, that it's like you're being guided. And I think this guy was searching for a master to guide him towards nirvana, which is the whole goal.
That's a really good point. Yeah. It's funny because that's like
the assumption
I don't know
that
why
they
I
know
hate
more
this.
than you.
Well, even what if they do? Let's say they do know more than you. Is there any way for them to convey that knowledge in a way that you will pick it up in a way that will work for you? That's like saying Wayne Gretzky, the greatest hockey player ever, makes a great coach.
Like he can teach you how to be him.
He can't.
No.
He literally is just himself. He can't tell you how he was himself. He can try, And he might be an okay coach. I'm not saying he is or isn't. We all know he isn't. He isn't. But like, but you can only get so much from a teacher. A teacher can't teach you how to learn. Learning comes from within. So I agree with that. And I was just going to rip through these because he gives up, and guess what he does? He starts shacking up. His lover, Kamala, teaches him all the ways of sex and sensual pleasure. He starts doing it with her like nonstop. I'm pretty sure they banged for like 2 years straight. They're banging. He's doing tantric stuff. He's doing weird stuff. There's probably stuff going in booty holes. There's like all sorts of weirdness. There's voyeurs everywhere. They probably show the neighbors. There's all sorts. Everything sexual that your body can experience. These two did it. And guess what? He had a kid. Named him young Siddhartha. Good on you guys. Anyway, guess what? That wasn't the be-all, end-all of life. And physical pleasure isn't. So I'm agree with him.
That he enjoyed all of life. So that's one piece that I feel like maybe Buddhism is like a cult. Is that, especially like nunneries, when they get cloistered like that. Love the word. They miss out on pieces of life and they can't communicate to people who like have had sex before. Or like can
you cut yourself. You cut off the experiences.
Yeah. You can't relate to people without all their experiences. I don't know that. I don't think it's a distraction. I think that it helps you in every way to understand more about life, to experience another person and sexual.
I mean, it can, but you can also become obsessed or overly indulgent in anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get distracted. Yeah. You're not fully culty if you're distracted by other vices, unless those are vices that the cult has. You know.
Right. The main line, the heroin for you. So, what does my man do next? He goes to Kamasawami, a merchant who instructs him on the art of business. Siddhartha becomes good as shit at business, dude.
Yeah.
He's wearing suits. He's like friggin' ripping people off. He makes more money than God. He knows he turns it into a game. He wants to game the system. He's gaining money. He's gaining power. He's gaining all these deals. He's back brokering deals here and there. He's leveraging this against this. And he realizes it is all a game. It's how you play it. And he becomes so obsessed with that. He's literally one of the best in the land. He overtakes his teacher. He has so much money, a beautiful house. He can buy anything. But guess what? Still feels empty and shallow as fuck. The whole time he's changing jobs. He lives near this river, and there's one guy he kind of finds interesting. Vasudeva. It's the ferryman. Every time he ends up changing careers, the ferryman takes him to his next area. And the ferryman's just a cool dude. He's just chill. He says, "Hey, Siddhartha. Hey, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm going to, change my life, do this." He's like, "That's excellent. Good on you." And the ferryman never seems happy overly. He never seems upset. He just is a constant. And he's constantly there to help him ferry across the river. So he finally says, "Hey, can you help me?" And the ferryman says, "Do you want to be a ferryman?" Holy shit. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So Siddhartha becomes a ferryman, and he learns more about life from the very river they're on than anything else. And through all his trials and tribulations, all of his answers were in the river the whole time. It gives him all his answers. And I don't know that it's true, but he says, like, listen to the river. And it's always speaking in many voices. And that's like the voices he heard around him. Look at time. And he says, but I'm an older man now. I can't go back. And he says, the river is both old and young. And he says, look, it's younger back here. It's older here. He says, that's true. And then he says, well, look at this rock here. The water is constantly moving over it. It's never stagnant. Water is not a point in time. Water is constant. It's here. It's there. It's moving. It's continuous. It's flowing. And that's how time is. And I guess that's kind of the takeaway I got from it. Is like, oh, damn. Something as simple as water flowing that he was just traveling on to get to all these different careers or life paths. That was the answer for him. And he found peace. And I think he stays a ferryman until he dies. I made that part up, but could be.
You know what I just realized? Have you ever watched the movie Adaptation?
Yeah.
It's Nicolas Cage
Costner?
as Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage is Nicolas Cage with Nicolas Cage.
And Chris Cooper, the John LaRoche character,
sure.
The guy with no teeth. He's the one hunting for the orchid. He is Siddhartha. because he talks about all his passions and he's like, no, I dropped that. I just decided to do something different. But like his quotes are so Siddharth.
Siddharthan?
Yeah.
I believe.
Siddharthan? Here's two quotes. So he's talking about flowers and why he loves them. He says, because they're so immutable. Adaptation is a profound process, means you figure out how to thrive in a world. So he was just like hinting at the following line, which is, point is, what's so wonderful is that every one of these flowers has a specific relationship with the insect that pollinates it, orchids. There's a certain orchid that looks exactly like a certain insect, so the insect is drawn to this flower. It's double, its soulmate, and wants nothing more than to make love to it. So it's like, it's intense. Like even for a flower, you feel animated by it. Like you're the physical embodiment of a flower, and you know what love is, and then you know what a flower feels like to make love to an insect, even though it probably doesn't feel.
It might. I mean, I won't know, and I will say this: I'm giving you a 10.
Me?
Yeah.
Me? A 10?
Yeah. In AP 10. English, I'm giving you a 10 right now.
Nice.
That was such a good connection. I know I was the only one in class who got a 10. Oh. We all, you're still thinking about it, but I think you get a 10 for today.
Yeah.
That's a good connection. That was on the fly. That was pretty good.
No, it was the one quote where he was talking about how he used to like have a bunch of sea turtles or some shit, and he's like, and
and then I dropped that.
Yeah, I dropped that. Fuck sea turtles. I hate them. And then it's just like he loves something so intensely that he got over it, and that's exactly what I think Siddhartha is doing, and I think that's exactly what we're doing. Like there's certain things that, so this is my personal experience, is that when I was little, I always wanted a train set. So my dad built part of a train set but never completed it, so I could never actually play with the trains. It was just like the setup, the table, the set, all the stuff. And now, as my kids are growing older and able to play with trains, I'm just like fully into being like, let's build the best fucking train set you can possibly imagine. And I feel the joy that I didn't have when I couldn't build that train set.
Delayed gratitude. Yeah. This train set is 25 years late, but guess what? It's pulling into port, baby.
Yeah. So there's a longing there that you don't even realize until it's actually like in the moment, and you feel that like the delayed gratification of 25 years. But the reverse happens as well, is that I played like racing games when I was little and I mastered them, and now I have no desire to like get in a car and race. I don't want to play racing games anymore. There's like, you overcome certain desires and you feel them completely, and once you allow yourself to absorb something completely, you no longer desire it. You no longer need to want it.
It's interesting because you also, what you touched on and what you're saying is you also don't know what you need and what you want. Mm-hmm. At the time, you think you know. You work towards a thing. You feel an urge to do something. You won't know that you won't like that or it won't fulfill you until you do it. Yes. I mean, imagine if you never did it, though, but you had the urge to do it. You can't know that once you do it, it won't fulfill you. So I think that's part of the growth process, the life process, the
it's like living. Celebrities banging celebrities. Do you think they're amazed that they're banging a celebrity? No, they're bored. They're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, but they have to. It's an urge. You know what I mean? Like it's a thing. They have, because if they didn't, they'd be like, why not? Yeah, I agree. But when you finish, it's probably like, I didn't want this after all. Yeah. This is mildly okay at best. Here's a question. Do you think you can ever find the thing that makes you happy?
No.
Weird.
You can only be content.
Huh. And you don't think there's anyone out there happy?
I don't think they're continually happy.
I don't know.
I think they keep searching. Like, I feel like the person who's just like happy all the time is
stupid,
clinically insane. Yeah, they're just dumb. Like there's,
yeah,
like if you're not creative or inventive enough to think like there's something more or like I could do this, then you're just like stunting yourself.
You stopped growing. You stopped. Yeah. And that's not a human condition. You can't stop. You can't not grow. You can't not keep going and wanting more.
Yeah.
So we're never happy?
Damn it.
Good news is I'm already there.
Yeah. Do you think it gets worse? I was thinking about the people who become old and they become disabled in some way. And there's a point where your body can't heal itself, and you just feel the different inabilities you have. Like, how do you adjust to lacking physical strength and deteriorating? That you can't say that life is getting better at that point, but you can just kind of succumb to it.
I guess you could also, well, that's the thing that we've never experienced and can't experience right now. But when you do, I mean, maybe you can focus on yourself. Maybe it forces you to slow down, stop doing the things you think you want to do, and you actually can write that book or start reading about so-and-so or start visiting relatives because that's all that's left and that's all you can really do, or building birdhouses or some dumb shit. I mean, I'm saying like because I kind of want to build a birdhouse right now. This is the best I don't know. Maybe that's what you would be happiest doing, and so this terrible thing that sucks and there's no way around it forces you to find a new happiness.
Have you ever seen the Black Mirror where they're in an old folks home? And the way they're living life is through virtual reality. So they go to this place that allows them to be young again and relive the moments that they wanted to have and like fulfill regrets.
Do they do it and it works out?
She becomes lesbian and finds a love, and then the end of the show is her dying. So
I guess that's happy. Yeah, it's heavy.
I mean, I don't know. It's the delta of depression, right?
I mean, here's the weirdest. Yeah, here's the weirdest thing. Let's say a human being is only one organism. It's not really 10 billion. We're all the exact same person, and we're all just allowed to live a different life to see how it works out, and none of them are happy. But they all do different shit.
All the symbiotic relationships you have going on in your body, they're all fighting one another, and they're all pissed that they're not winning and leading and independent.
Well, think about it. Like in your body, you can't control the individual cells, muscles, emotions. You can flex them and everything, but 99% of their lifespan is spent next to each other, living amongst each other, interacting with blood cells, other cells, things going on. And I consider that me, but I don't do any thinking for the muscle here. Huge, I know. Any hair follicle here. Ooh, dad muscle. Damn, actually, that's really good.
That's not even flexing. Good. I don't even know.
How did that happen? But I mean, like this muscle, this hair follicle, an individual thought I had in my head. All these things exist, and I call them me, but they're individuals. Like my muscle here would say, I don't talk shit on the hair follicle on your left leg. I don't talk shit on that. I'm not related to that motherfucker at all. And it's almost like, yeah, you're all part of the same body. Is that a little bit like humans? Like we all think we're doing 10 million things, 10 million desires, 10 million lives, but it's a billion. But it's all one thing.
Are we ants?
Experience?
Is that what you're saying? Is that we're driven towards a common goal and we have no clue? We all think we're independent and really we're all connected?
It would make more sense in a lot of the reactions and how no one is winning, really, and how no one wins in the end, and how no one is actually changing anything. I mean, you're changing things, but you're changing parameters inside your environment. You haven't transcended being a human. You're still human. You still experience it humanly. You still have the same feelings we do. And this is the type of shit I think up when I'm Zen. There's probably a word for what you're looking up, and I appreciate that. But we're all one thing. We're all one. I think there's a Tool song that begins, Third Eye, that says, here's Tom with the weather. Where all life experiences itself self-objectively, blah, blah, blah. And here's Tom with the weather.
I was trying to find if, like, Buddhism, and it does, practice generosity, altruism, to reach enlightenment. And I guess that's part of not having possessions, is that if you do gain possession, you try to give it away. I was trying to look for, like, how Buddhism would progress and grow and help others, and I guess that's why. But I don't,
because they're spreading a wealth of sorts.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know that they're relieving themselves of wealth, because their doctrine doesn't allow them to be wealthy.
hold up. If it's several Buddhists stuck in a cloistered area and one comes into wealth, not by choice, will, testament, relative, I have to take this money and give it, and you give it to another Buddhist, do they have to give it to another someone? And what if it's all Buddhists? Yeah, like it's all Buddhists. No, you, my friend. No, I will pass it to this friend. No, I will pass it. Like this, just keep going around.
I think there was like on Netflix, I think it's called Chef's Table. Chef's Table. So there was a Buddhist monk that was actually like a Michelin-starred chef who literally grew everything she cooked. And it was like insane because they went into her life and they talked about how her family was separate from Buddhist thinking and ways. And like they were independently somewhat wealthy. And they were fearful for her because she relieved herself of all those obligations and all of like the family ties and wealth. And there was one conversation, like it goes way deep, more than food. It went way deep into like her dad, he was dying, and it was one of his last conversations was he traveled to her temple and wanted to check on her before he passed away to see how she was doing. And she kind of just said like, I'm at peace here, I'm happy, like everything that you care about I may not, but it doesn't matter to me because I'm whole. And like her dad went away feeling good about how like his daughter had lived and how she's living, and he passed away in peace. So there's like a weird kind of like, there's so much that other people build up in other people and like a pride, and like all that can be broken down and it can be like severed in a way that makes it so that if you don't fulfill people's dreams, you become ashamed and upset and silenced almost by it. And that's a terrible way to live.
Well, here's an interesting takeaway. She was living her best life and actually probably at peace and happy.
He was worried.
It made her parents not at peace and happy. So isn't that weird?
Yeah, until his dying day when he realized that like, oh, this is a just way of life. It's a good way of living. But she was she was like renowned for her food. Like she had traveled all over the world serving
accomplished
food. Yeah.
Just didn't make money off of it, but she didn't need the money. She didn't want it.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's something that's weird I think about, and it's vain, I guess, but do you know how I said I feel like I'm fairly enlightened? I feel like an 80-year-old me told me never be afraid of anything, never worry about anything. Life is going to happen regardless.
Yeah, put your money in Netflix,
yeah. I've taken this approach to life where I feel like I really kind of don't care. Not in a bad way. A recklessness, and I just want to experience life, and I don't really want to fret too much about it.
Yeah.
And I'm almost like the most important thing is the interaction day to day. I sometimes honestly feel like having that approach, having a feeling like this is, here, I'll put it this way. If you literally lived every day like it was the last day on earth, you would live the craziest life in the world, and everyone would interact with you in a terrible, terrible way. Like, people are like, don't you care about your future? Don't you do this? What's going on inside of you? You're making me worried. You're making me nervous. You're making me scared. You're making me this. And you literally can put people on edge and make people uncomfortable or sad or scared or angry.
Reckless, careless.
Yeah. Yes. So which is it? You can't have it both ways. You can't be like, live every day like it's your last day. Spend all your money on hookers and cocaine and do this and that. It's like, that's a terrible decision. There's got to be a border, a boundary for how far you can live your fullest life. Like, you almost have to be part of the drudgery and the boring stuff and the working with society and thinking about your future and going to a boring job because it ties you with other people, doesn't it? If you totally were a cloistered monk, you can't relate to regular people.
Or a vagabond. People who are homeless or like hippies. I feel like that was the embodiment, the American embodiment of that back in like the 70s.
It kind of was. It's another good call. I'm giving you a 9 out of 10 on that paper too.
Nice.
9, but good insight.
So how would there's there's a Reddit subreddit for homelessness that I actually subscribe to.
Subreddit for everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's amazing to see their perspective sometimes because, like, the simplicity of life and what their needs are. Like, sometimes they just need a hot shower, and, like, for some reason they have a phone, too, which baffles me. Is that they, like, are tweeting about, like, oh, there's a hot shower on, like, this street and this street.
25th and Broad.
Yeah. And it's like they discovered it, and it's, like, for them, the value of it is, like, exponential. Like, they can't even believe that it exists.
Can you imagine how good a hot shower feels to a homeless person?
Yeah, a clean hot shower. Because they probably experience, like, the pure shit of, like, not having showered, or showers that are just filthy and disgusting, or trying to shower out of, like, a sink or something. Like, not really showering.
Yeah.
Like, how awful would that be?
But how good would a real one feel?
Exactly.
So we talk about the delta, baby. We'll come back here. We come to the delta a lot, folks. It's the difference of your average everyday life and how much you respect or feel or the greatness of an event. If you had a hot shower in a pristine shower every day, it wouldn't feel that great on a regular day. It would feel good.
Yeah.
Not as good as it feels to a homeless guy who hasn't had one in a month and a half. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That feeling, you couldn't manufacture that feeling.
Yeah. And if a river keeps flowing, eventually the silt builds a delta. Your own island where you can't feel.
This guy's giving me some English major papers that I can't stand today. They're all so good. I want to give you a 10 out of 10 today.
Oh my goodness.
Call our old English teacher and be like, my God, he just tied everything in a neat bow.
What's this podcast? Siddhartha, you gave us this book. It changed our lives.
Like, I don't remember. And you're like, trust me. Just give him a 10. Give the guy a 10.
Can you write on this piece of paper 10? Just give me a 10 right now.
Put your name on the top. It's for the podcast. So, Zen.
Yeah.
Let's get it back to Zen. Which one is Zen that we've been talking about all night?
So there's a piece that's, I feel like there's a misconception, is that Zen is like an action, that there's meditation involved and there's like a focus. I think the focus is actually like, it could be anything. So I derive Zen from like being in stuff, regardless of what it is. Like if you fully allow yourself to be working or playing a video game or music or whatever your craft may be, I think that's the goal, is that you get so into something that you feel it, that it's so intricate and so part of you that you actually improve how you do it.
Like an old man in a movie or a trope or a TV show who's always good at working on cars, and he has the hardest car job in the world, and he's trying to help these heroes who came to him with a car that was utterly destroyed. And then there's a montage where he's working on the car and he's not talking to anyone, and he's fucking working it. Like, that's Zen, right?
No.
What?
The best example of Zen is that guitar shop with the dad and the son that I sent you. Holy shit.
That was like an hour long. Well, that's exactly like the dude working on the car in the montage.
No, I just wanted to bring up that example.
Oh, okay.
Because that guitar shop was insane. They had so many different unique tools, and the father and son were in like such a perfect sync.
Well, because they've done this so many
times.
Does Zen come from repetition?
This is mastery. We're talking about mastery here.
I know. You like to bring up mastery a lot. How many hours?
10,000 hours.
1,000 hours.
Wow.
Is mastery
10.
of an item.
Give me a 10,000 hour mastery.
To do anything for 10,000 hours, you're so good at it that it's second nature. It's part of your blood. It's part of your rhythm. It's part of your life.
Muscle memory.
But do you become so good at it that your muscles can take over and you're able to focus on different things? Is that what happens?
I think so. I think your body takes over so that you can then decide more intricate details that you may not be able to pay attention to unless your body allows you to do it.
This is getting crazy because now I'm thinking of the Paradiddle paradox. Do you know what a paradiddle is?
No.
Okay, it's a drummer technique where you go right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, and you keep repeating it. You get faster and faster. It's like, yeah, it's called a paradiddle.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyway, it's right, left, right. Anyway,
Yeah.
if you, any drummer will probably be able to tell you, if you do them enough, your muscle memory, it becomes second nature.
Faster and faster.
So what? You're gonna do it. So what happens is, as you get faster and faster and better, you start doing emphasis. So I'll be doing right, left, and then I'm like right,
and then you can fit in stuff.
Left, right. No. You still keep the pattern. Your emphasis changes. So then you're right, left, right, left, and then you're doing a paradiddle of emphasis while you're paradiddling. I know that sounds crazy, but I've been playing around with drums, and your body starts doing weird things where I reach another level, and it's you tied into it where your physical body is mastering a subject, and you start playing around in the subject matter. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like I'm making a paradiddle while I'm making a paradiddle. So whoever's really good at repairing a car or making it a guitar,
it's a paradiddle.
It's terrible that they rhyme.
Word.
No, it's a good word. Anyway, they're so able to do it with their eyes closed that they insert details that no one else will be able to do, emphasis that no one else would even catch. They're able to do nuances that no one can even see.
Music?
And it's
yes,
100%.
Who's the drummer for Rush?
Neil Peart, Ripeart.
So like the drum set, absolutely insane that he had.
Oh yeah, he has a 360-degree drum set. Just has whatever you want.
We haven't talked about what it feels like to play an instrument and get lost. Because that is the ultimate meditation, in my opinion. Because I could pick up an instrument and just be gone and come back and feel that meditation. Even though I'm not trying to meditate, you are like one with the sound that you are making.
That is weird. And the only way you can get there is by hours and hours and hours of practice. You can't pick it up and get there in 5 hours, could you?
What feels weirdest is that I forget. Like, I'm incapable of playing certain music that I knew 10 years ago until you hit a point where you start rolling and then your body kind of, like, sheds the confusion. And then you start figuring out things based on just sound.
The weirdest thing of this whole thing is I didn't think we were going to talk about our bodies this much when we talked about Zen. It's 100% physical and mental synergy. Isn't it?
It is synergistic. I think there's something
so
100%
weird
there that we just ignore for like the longest time. And you can feel it in other people when they're there. Like I feel like performers do it so well when they sing a note or they play a song and you are 100% engaged in what they're doing because you empathize with what they're doing.
And they've done that note or that thing 10,000 hours plus, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's not their first rodeo. Zen is that it's just something you are so good at that you become physically perfect at it. And then on top of that, you become mentally, spiritually involved in it. I don't even know what the word is because those aren't scientific words, but they're like. So there's a video, my favorite video of Stevie Ray Vaughan, one of my favorite guitarists.
Oh, yeah.
There's a video, if you type in Stevie Ray Vaughan, Lenny, one of the videos is of him, and I'd have to see the thumbnail to tell you which one it is. It's one of his top 3, and it's live. And he plays Lenny, which is a song about his wife, who I believe was alive at the time that he wrote it. I'm not sure if she passed or how it works. He's so high on cocaine and whatever drug he was on that he does this, and his head goes down, and he doesn't move his head at all, and just his hands and fingers move. And he's moving around the neck and doing ridiculous things, and there's so much emotion and crazy stuff happening, and it's like he's unconscious. He's not even awake. And he's playing notes that are his soul, if I were to say it. And he freaking rips his fretboard up and goes insane and nuts. And there's sweat dripping down his face, and he's totally not even awake, and he's playing things that most people who play guitar for years couldn't do.
Yes.
And at the end he like wakes up and like plays, and I'm like, that's insane. That's he's in some kind of zone that I guess I would have to call Zen at this point. We all have a zone.
Yeah.
A Zen ability.
Do you yoga?
I do stretch more than I used to, but I don't yoga. I think I would love to.
You know, I haven't done it in a class. I've done Wii yoga.
Fuck, that don't count, dude.
But I'm not gonna.
Go ahead. Because yoga is yoga, whether it's
though.
go away.
It does. So like it led into doing like the YouTube like yoga sessions, which I've done with my wife like side by side, and there is definitely something in releasing whatever your body's like. I don't know. I'm going to call it toxins because I think that's garbage. But there's like stretching out the muscles that don't get used very often. It definitely does something to release whatever tension you might have.
It's so weird. We keep coming back to the physicality of this. I didn't think Zen was this physical, but it's totally physical.
Well, there's totally like a stance that you need, a focus. There's never...
You can't be relaxed and calm and doing... I don't know, you can't sit on your couch and watch TV and have Zen. I don't know, maybe you can, but...
Is there any physical action that you can do, or inaction, that would not be described as Zen?
Eating potato chips on the couch. I don't think you can do that and be Zen. Do you think you could?
I feel like that's a byproduct of like if you had... I remember working like a 16-hour day when I was younger and doing exactly that and feeling Zen. But the Zen byproduct was not because I was eating potato chips. Can you Zen eat potato chips? Can you Zen do something bad for your body?
Do you think Homer Simpson could Zen eat potato chips and it would be like almost holy?
Yes.
I think he could. I think he could, actually. But that's 10,000 hours of practice. Interesting.
Oh, man.
I mean, the dude who I was just referencing earlier, Stevie Ray Vaughan, could do cocaine and play that song or whatever. Zen is just... Zen is where you're meant to be, and that feeling of doing the natural groove, feeling what comes naturally, doing what you're meant to do, and it's higher level.
Accepting it.
Yeah, it's not thinking about it, it's doing it.
Yeah.
Did you read the book that was like, you can do anything you want? Your brain tells you need 10,000 hours of experience to be good at it. You could pick up a guitar and play it perfectly. Your brain tells you need to practice to experience it. Well, this is a book. I wish I knew what it was. You can do anything. You can run a marathon today. Your brain will just tell you that it's not useless. This isn't a good feeling. I will fall apart.
I feel like this is a Malcolm Gladwell. What's his name?
Could be. Either way, it's interesting. It was a whole thing that your brain tells you can't do something, and so it won't allow you to do it until you've practiced it enough, or you've done it enough, or earned it.
I feel like this is a marathon runner's kind of mantra, is that there's a point where your body gives way.
It says, no, we're done. And you're like, just keep pushing. If you keep pushing something, I think you could.
This is
Run, fat boy, run.
I haven't listened to Joe Rogan in a long time, but I think this Dave Goggins was his name, is that he had some sort of like muscle pull that like would make most people unable to walk, and he ran a marathon and won it with that muscle pull based on his own mentality. Listen to that guy speak, because I would define him as like clinically insane, but also like a Navy SEAL who's the most driven person I've ever listened to. Like, even if his body was broken, I feel like he would unbreak it so that he could succeed.
Like he's crippled, and it's like, just get up and do it. He's screaming at it, and it just the body gets up because it's like, okay, we're doing it.
Yeah, his brain forces his body to listen to him.
Yes, that is a real thing. It's wild that we got into as much brain and body as we did, but that's I really didn't think we're getting there. Zen is finding your brain's use of your body. It's finding. What did you say in the beginning of the episode that we thought would be true? I don't know if it did. The opposite of boredom, or the same as boredom. What was it?
I don't know.
We'll never know. Everyone, you're 10 out of that one.
I'll have to rewind. Put it in the VCR.
Oh, boredom is focusing on the outside things.
Oh, yes.
Zen is focusing on the inside, kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of true.
Very true. I think that's where we end it.
We have to.
Yes.
I could talk about this for another 6 hours. We don't say anything. We need 10,000 hours to reach Zen.
Mastery.
So what do we talk about? We talked about the origin of Buddhism. We talked about Hinduism. Jainism.
Siddharthism.
Taoism. We literally discussed the subject from
Taoism. Yes.
And now, do you love the Taoist stuff? Like the whole, you must seek the truth by finding falsehoods, or like whatever. Like
what are the tenets of Taoism? Hold on a second.
Go ahead, pull it up. Pull it up. We can do it. I just love the things that are like, the only way to find the truth is to cut through lies. And it's like, whew, that's deep. Yeah.
Taoist thought focuses on genuineness, longevity, health, immortality, vitality, wu wei, non-action, a natural action, a perfect equilibrium with Tao, detachment, refinement, emptiness, spontaneity, transformation, and omnipotentiality.
Holy shit, I love that. That's awesome. That's literally the worst definition I've ever heard in my life, because it's just a bunch of words. It's like a grocery list. It's like plums, pears, meat that's on sale, sometimes seltzer water, ginger ale. Do you have chips for the child? And it's like, whoa, that's a lot of information. You better write this down, dude. So yeah.
I feel like that if I was to make a cult, I would like have like all like this ridiculous wish list.
This and health and servitude,
dear
and
Santa,
the ability to hunt deer. And it's like, whoa, where did that one come from? It's like, okay. You just put it in the middle.
I want to be able to shoot a compound bow at 300 yards. It's like, what?
That's part of your religion? It's like, yeah. And moving on, Hinduism, belief in other people, supporting the troops. It's like, whoa, Jesus Christ, I'm still in the deer.
Oh man,
wow, dude. Zen. You gonna find your Zen, dude? You gonna meditate more?
Meditate and relax.
It's not relaxing though. A little different.
Focus with relaxation.
Weird.
Odd. Strange.
Interesting.
Eastern culture. Anti-materialistic.
I like it.
I like it a lot.
Just like I like the people at home. Check our links. Check our everything. Check our.
You can do whatever you like.
All the things listed. Patreon. Yeah, don't even.
Goddamn like button. Subscribe right now. I declare it.
Thanks for listening, folks. Become the ferryman. We like you.
Yeah.
We like
you a lot.